I will use new plywood, block it with some tape against water damage on my awesome new truck. The previous, I don't even know what to call it, behind the siding, it's just bad. I can poke it with my almost finger. It's really bad. I'll replace it. Now you're officially on YouTube.
I hope not.
Not yet.
How much more inches do you need?
A second, let's stop.
Okay.
1, 2. I took the width, added 2 centimeters, so I will have 1 centimeter on the left and 1 on the right, so total 2. And this is exactly the middle. So from the middle, I'm going left and right the same way. The frame should have 2 pieces of 2x4, so the first one will be here, the second one will be here. The distance from this spot to the other side to this one is exactly the width of the door plus 2 centimeters. I'll mark the bottom and I'll go down from it 1.5 inch. The bottom line is where the 2x4, the bottom plate, will start. Then I'll have the bottom. This is where the current floor is. The hardwood is where the new hardwood will reach to. So this is the height of it. The next one is where the door will be. So the final installation will have 3/4 of an inch razor between the hardwood and the door. And then I'll use some kind of trim to match it. Why I'm not doing it flush? Because this is how it's usually built. I at the moment I don't really know, but I asked some constructors and I looked at the current doors that I have, and there is a 3/4 of an inch difference between the floor and the door. The door is always higher. If you do it on your own, be careful, it's not exactly the same. Make sure that you place the boards correctly. They are like mirrors, exact opposite, they are not the same. I'm aligning it with the line from the inside. I can see it from this side, this angle. You can't. And I'll drive the nail just as I've shown. And get ready for a lot of dust. Now to the door. This is the level of the floor, minus 1.5 inches. Leveled everything. Now I'm going to add the plywood. I used a laser, level, ladder and a pen, and you'll see a very professional solution in just a moment, but to mark the edges of the door. This is the very professional solution. Sticks. So this is my border here, and this is my border here. Now that I have both sticks in the ground, I can find the center. Basically, I could have done it only with one because I know my opening at the top, but this is like double checking, and I have an opening, if you're interested, 180.5 centimeters on the top, and I checked on the bottom, I have exactly 180.5, so I'm good and centered. In other words, I copied the opening or the center of the opening to the bottom. If you do it on your own, please check local codes. In my area, I can go as far as 4 feet and 1 inch from the brick wall. This will allow me to have 25 feet from here till the sidewalk. Also, another thing that I could have done is build a roof above my balcony, and then I could have gone 25% more into the 25 feet area which I described earlier. Complex, it's not that complex, but then I need to build a roof, waste more time, more materials. I will probably not use it. Make sure that it doesn't leak when I connect the roof to the other roof. I mean, it's just a disaster waiting to happen, so I will just use the 4 feet and 1 inch from the brick wall, and that's it. I use this triangle to make sure that I have 90 degrees from the house to my sticks. So this will be the end point, and this will be the second end point. "36 is more than enough," and this is 38. One hole, second hole. Now I can return the rental. I created those boxes out of treated lumber 2x4 and leveled the first one and then leveling the second one. Why square and not round? Because I found it's easier for me to level those square boxes that I'm creating instead of the round ones where you cut and it's not exactly straight cut. This was a pain for me, so this will be easier. And I'm almost done. How did I do it? I started from the left box because I know it's lower than the right one. Then I measured 59 centimeters from the wall to the corner and tightened it in place. Check that everything is leveled and work on the other corners. I made sure that I also have 59 centimeters to the next corner. This means that I'm at the same distance from the wall and the first square box is done. Then I took this big piece, which is supposed to be straight. It's not really leveled, but supposed to be, and leveled the other corner, again 59 centimeters, and then I continue to the rest. Now I'm going to close the gaps with other pieces of wood, otherwise the concrete will just get out of there, and this is not what I want. Now for the concrete. It took 8 bags for the first hole and the frame, so each bag is 60 pounds and the total is 480 pounds, let's say 500 pounds of concrete. The second one is a little bit higher, so I might need more than 8 bags. Ironically, I ran out of concrete bags and I asked my friend to bring me 5 more bags. Yep. I'm going to use a piece of plywood between the boards, like that, and then I will have the same height. Without it, it will be lower or less in depth. To connect everything, I'm using glue and a nailer. The top is done. Now I'm going to do the bottom. I marked the location of the, let's call them joists, and I'm putting the bottom plate in place, and now the bottom plate is in place. This is why I marked the location. Without it, it's impossible to see, and I'm going to nail them. The same framing nailer. Beautiful. I still need 2-3 more days for it to completely cure, and then I'll do the posts. I used zip tape and caulked 2 lines, and here there will be a platform to stand on. This thing is supposed to be on the outside, and since it's from the inside we can't push the door out, so we will try and lean it in an angle and not to break it. We have John here and Kay. We're slowly moving the door in an angle. We were able to take it out. Now we'll slide it in and hopefully it will not break. And then when the time comes, the handles need to be removed. The first thing I want to say about this thing is it's very slow. It's unstable, it's moving. I will probably never rent it again. Back to the door. We were able not to break anything. And then I'm driving screws. The upper part is sliding on top of the bottom. More screws, and that's it. It's leveled. We checked that it's leveled before screwing everything in. And I don't need any shims because the frame apparently came out perfect. The ledger board is done. It was hard to align it, so what I did is took the length of this one minus the length of this one, divided by 2, and then I had some pieces here and there marked where it meets, and align it like this instead of the center, which can be a little bit tricky. But either way works. I cut whatever I need, then I'm pushing it in, and we'll secure it with roofing nails. It looks like this. So I'll secure it here, then I'll have a flashing tape, and I'll secure it on the other side. This is how it looks like with the zip tape. I'm doing the sides first, and then I'll do the top. Why? Because if water will come through here, it will go on the first tape and then on the second tape. I don't want to reverse the order because then the water might get trapped here and will not be able to escape. Now it's ready for paint. Sanding with 40 grit sandpaper. This is how 120 grit looks like. After the 40, I did 80 and then 120 on this board. Here I only have 40. I'm just showing you how it looks like before and after. From here till here, 36 inches. This is per code the required height for the, what am I building? A porch. Then decking board. And then I'll have those huge 2x8s with a depth of one piece and another one. So total 8 centimeters. This will be my depth. I need to cut all of that. The blade in the circular saw is not long enough, so I'm using a stopper here and a depth of 8 centimeters. If you'll notice, I'm using this board here. Without it, I will have less height on this side than on the other one because the blade is round. So I'm using this board and making small cuts. Sanding it with 120. I don't know why, it's just a cut, but it's beautiful. Freaking awesome. I'm always wiping off the excess, following the instructions of this oil, paraffin. This one is called Sable. This is the full name if anyone is interested. I still need to cut the bottom, but since I don't know where to cut, I'm leaving it like this for now. But the top, I'm sure about it, 36 inches. plus the deck board, and then the 2x8. The beam is there, John is there, and we have a new friend.
Oh, I know it's not wood. It's not a tree. It's not a tree. I know, pretty. It's not a tree, though. Say hi. I'm not trying to scratch it. I'm trying to hold it in place.
Don't scratch the plastic.
Don't scratch the wood, man. Oh, shit. Don't.
Yeah, you moved your leg.
Well, I had to because it was going to crush my foot. I just got this foot back, Roman.
Yeah.
You trying to take my feet away from me again, Roman?
For me, it was impossible to do it on my own. I had John help me with this again, and it looks nice. So the first thing I did was put one piece, then use some clamps to make sure it's at the corners, at the edges, then drove some screws in, just temporary, and then put the second board. 5 inches, spec screws, no pre-drilling. I love those. Everyone does. The two 2x8s are not leveled. One of them has a bow. I will use a planer to fix this problem. I really love this tool. Makes things much faster than sanding. I mean, this is unbelievable. The 2x6 is connected with hangers, joist hangers. And I use smaller pieces of it, make sure that everything is leveled, then put the hangers in place, and then just slide the board in. For the sides, I'm going to use those hangers. There's always something wrong going on with the deck boards. So what I'm doing is using a clamp, aligning everything, cutting the other side just a little bit, then rotating everything and then cutting this side. I had a frame inspection today, and the inspector said that I need to use the hex bolts that will go through the 6x6 and to the two 2x8s. I'll use this drill, 1/2 inch, to make 2 holes on each post and drive the hex bolts through with washers and nuts. If you do it on your own, don't just drill through it because the other side will crack. To avoid it, I'm using another piece of wood on the other side. I'll clamp it, and this way I will have enough pressure to hold something from the other side while the hole is being created, and it will not split on the other end. Now that the first one is in place, I'm using the same screws as spacers, and then driving the rest. If it's not snug enough, I will clamp it in. Okay. I always pre-drill and then driving the nail, and at this stage, since everything is already sanded, I'm working barefoot. If you do it on your own and you work on this height, don't lean on this side too much, otherwise everything will flip, might flip and I'm scared of heights, so please be careful out there. I'm using a square to mark the locations of the holes, and I'm going 1 inch from each edge. Not only that I have an equal distance between them, I'm following a straight line. Then push it into position. Before I attach the last board, I keep this one loose, put it with the space, taking my measurement tape, measuring from here to here with the space, and then measuring on the other side. If the distances are different, let's say that here I have 10 and there I have only 9.5, I will obviously cut 9.5 and not start doing crazy angles here and no. So I will cut mine 9.5 with my table saw. I shaved the required width with the planer, then sanded it. Now I'll try to push it in. And it's really important not to cut around it, because all the weight on top of this will be transferred to the bottom. And if there is nothing there, it will eventually break. These are the handles, and they're connected with screws from the back, come with instructions. I probably should have painted it in coffee. I'll see how it looks like and maybe I'll decide to paint it later. The inner side handle has a groove inside, and this part is flat. The flat one needs to be facing the lock, and the groove needs to allow room for the lock to open and close.